Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode on the Growth Project podcast, a podcast for you if you're ready to make a real impact in this lifetime. Whether you're looking to start your own business, travel the world, or simply live life with more purpose, the Growth Project podcast will guide you every step of the way. Hosted by motivational speaker, life coach, and self-proclaimed truth dealer, Sherise, you can be sure that the Growth Project podcast will guide you in a progressive and authentic way towards your highest, most badass, unapologetic self. So sit back, buckle up, and get ready for the ride. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode on the Growth Project podcast. My name is Sherise, and I am forever your host. So before we start today, like usual, I always have to say welcome to all my new listeners. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that something led you to my podcast. And to all the OGs, my warmest welcome back to the podcast. Thank you guys for always rocking with me. And I'm happy that something always keeps you coming back to my podcast. So, before we start today, I want to do a quick announcement that I want to let you guys know about. So I want to start, I remember I tried this out last year. I did a little trial period of having some questions for the podcast. So I have one episode where I responded to a question and it turned out very, very well. But while doing many different crazy things this year and really finding my groove and really what works for me, I did not answer the other questions that I got. I answered a lot of the questions that I got to the specific people, but I didn't actually answer it on the podcast. But that has been something that has been really, really close to my heart and something that I really, really wanted to do. Ever since I was young, I really used to be like, this is so cheesy, but I used to be that little girl, like listening to radio at night, like hearing people call in the radio and like talk about things and like hear the radio host giving advice or people calling in to give advice. Like I was like 10, 9, and I was listening to those things. And I've always wanted to kind of have a place where people can either call in or just submit things anonymously and I can get to answer it, because I know that this podcast is like, it has a lot of value and it's giving a lot of value, and I love that it's a perfect blend between my life, my updates, my lessons, but also what I'm learning, and also like insights that can help whoever is like on their spiritual journey, on their entrepreneurship journey, whoever is on their journey to self-realization and to being their highest self, and to really truly try to create an impact and touch their potential in this lifetime. So for all of those people who are like, I want to follow my heart, I want to, express myself creatively, I want to change the world, like I want to live an impact on this world before I die, like I want the world to be a better place because of my existence and from my existence. And I don't think that's egotistical at all. I think it's having the spirit I feel like it's having a serving spirit where you just want to serve and help humanity so bad that you just want your presence to be one that has a positive impact. And I think that is so beautiful, and a lot of us have this type of spirit, and a lot of us, it's really needed in this time, especially since we're going through very, very hard times and dark times. All of those who have those serving spirits, who have those spirits of compassion, who want to help the world, who want to help others, who hear the calling, who want to inspire others, and who wants to lead others, like it's really the time for you to get up and do that and rise. I would say, it's really the time for you to rise right now. You know what I mean? And like I said, I love that my podcast is a mix of giving you guys value, but also talking about the insights and everything that I've learned on my journey so far, and really taking you guys along the ride of this growth journey. Like, I'm really not the same person that I was when I started this podcast, and I think like that for me is so special, that I get to document this and document my growth and document different milestones with the podcast as well. But as I was saying before, I've always wanted to have that component where people submit things or call in or have like a hotline, because I also really want to have more of a connection and less of me just like speaking to you guys and you learning, but more of it being like, you know, that there's a place where if you have a question, you can literally ask it and it will be answered on the podcast. It will be answered to you directly even. So I really want to make sure that at the end of the day, it is a balanced exchange that we have, and that you guys can really feel like the podcast is relevant and relatable, and you know, it is real. So that is what I wanted to tell you guys, and that is why in the descriptions of every episode in the show notes, you guys are now going to see the hotline. So this is where you can, it's not like you call in, so you click on it and then what it asks you to do is like you record a audio message. So you can say your name, you don't have to say your name, you can just send in your question or your situation, and it could really be about anything. Obviously any topics about spirituality, entrepreneurship, relationships, money, any insight that you guys would like to have on that. For sure I'm more comfortable, but I'm a Sagittarius. Like I'm very well versed in a lot of subjects and a lot of topics. So, and I feel like if I put it like ask me anything, it's even better for me, because like I get to stretch what I know and stretch my knowledge as well. So you click on the hotline, you just leave a audio message for me asking your question or whatever it is that you want to send in, and that will be answered on the podcast. So I want to make sure maybe like 5 minutes at the end, 10 minutes at the end, or maybe 10 minutes in the beginning of the following podcast, that I can be answering your guys' question and then getting into the episode. So you can send the voice. And the other way that I added was that you can submit your situation through a anonymous form. So those are the two ways. You can send an audio message for all my girlies who like to talk and explain. I love it. I prefer the audios, to be honest. If you're really, really, really uncomfortable, you can use the anonymous form, where you can send that in by written, and I will basically read it out on the podcast. So now that you guys know that, like I said, all links are in the description, in the show notes, and please send me some stuff. I really, really want, like I said, this has always been like a kind of dream of mine, so I really, really want to start serving you guys in this way. So on today's episode, we are going to be discussing the importance of our emotions, the importance of our emotional body, of our energy, of managing our emotions, and even more so, we're going to talk about what happens when we don't let our emotions flow through us, and we don't process them, and we don't allow them to basically live their lifespan. You know, our emotions are supposed to come up, flow through us, out of us, and go away. And a lot of the times we suppress them, we keep them down, we stop ourselves from feeling them and all of that. And we kind of like extend the amount of time that emotion is in our body. And even if we're not feeling it, it's still it's still having an effect on us. So we really want to make sure that we learn how to process our emotions and how to feel things and hold ourselves within whatever we're feeling. Not because we're feeling something means that we need to absolutely let ourselves go, that we need to fall into despair, or that we need to be depressed. It does not mean any of those things. To be honest, the more that you allow yourself to truly feel your emotions and process them and allow them to flow through you, the better you get at like having low emotions or having heavy emotions, and not succumbing to them. I think it's when we try to fight our emotions so much and we suppress and repress them, when they actually come up, they're so big because they have been building so much that they literally overwhelm us, and we don't know what to do. We don't know what to do because instead of allowing that emotion to come up in the small waves of like when it wanted to come up, we shut it down, we pushed it down, and now we have this huge wave that is going over our heads and we're drowning, and that is so normal. But if we don't let the wave build up and we don't repress and suppress, we have a better chance, like I said, of feeling those emotions and not actually succumbing, not actually staying in that state for a really long time, but truly flowing in and out of different states and holding ourselves and allowing ourselves to feel, and we can still hold ourselves and be there for ourselves and not judge ourselves and really manage our emotional state way better. So the perspective that I wanted to talk about today, or the insight that I wanted to share with you guys today, was that of feeling empty and feeling like nothing's exciting you anymore. So this happened to me, I would say roughly 2.5 years ago. I got out of a relationship. I had achieved something, but the things that I were doing, that I were achieving in my life, were not going as planned. I was not feeling good. I was literally on the brink of my spiritual awakening that I didn't know at that point, but I was going through my dark night of soul. I was very I just was like not feeling anything. Was like depressed. I was not feeling anything. I was not allowing myself to process. I was just pushing everything down, acting like everything was okay, going to work, trying to keep up with my life, and just ignoring the fact that like every single day that emptiness just grew deeper and deeper and bigger, and like I just tried to do what everybody told me that I should do. Like, for a lot of people, this is just normal. Like, we just all don't like our jobs, right? And we just all don't like going in, and it's just like, oh, so it's just like when you're going through things and sometimes you try to get help from people, it's just like, oh yeah, I understand, it's like that, like, but it's like sometimes people truly don't know to the extent of what you're going through. And it's not as simple of like, I don't like my job. It's like I was literally feeling like I don't like my life. I don't like my life. There's nothing in my life. Like, not nothing. Like, I was still grateful for some things, but like I was like, this is not the life that I want to live. Like, there's not really much in my life that's exciting me, that's like meaningful to me. Like, even my job, I was getting paid really well, and I was just like, this is not meaningful to me. I'm not doing meaningful work. I'm not stretching myself. I'm not growing. I'm not challenging myself. I'm not even listening to myself and to my heart, and I'm not even doing anything that excites me, and I'm not surrounded by like people that excite me, and I don't even allow myself to really like for people to get to know me really on a deep level. I don't even allow myself to like have those connections because I was really not processing a lot of my emotions at that time. And maybe that's a story for our next time, but I really used to be Miss Ice Queen and just like, I don't give a fuck about feelings. Like, you know, like I was just like, you know, act like a woman, think like a man, that kind of thing. It was just like Miss No Feelings, all games, all that. But when 2.5 years ago, like I said, when I was in that point in my life, and I was really at the low, and it was a very dark period of my life. I really, like I said, I felt absolutely nothing, to the point where I was like, okay, I'm apathetic. Like, I'm like one step away from depression because like I literally don't feel anything. And during that time, something that I learned truly, and this is why I will never ever suppress my emotions or repress my emotions ever again, because for a long time I was doing that in my life, and that point of my life, it was just like God was just saying like, no more. No more. Spirit was just saying no more. You cannot keep pushing all these things down. Like, it does not serve you. The next level of your life, you need to be able to feel. So it's not going to continue to work like this. Like, you cannot continue to exist like this. You cannot continue to function like this. And literally, I personally feel like I broke in a million pieces. And I love this saying that the places where you're broken is where the light enters, or something like that. It's like the shattering allows the light to enter. And I do really feel that, because like I said, I was Miss Ice Queen and I was always like never feeling anything. And when I finally broke open, or broke apart and broke together finally, it was like everything came flooding through. All of these things that I was ignoring came at one time, and yes, it was so overwhelming, and I think I cried like every single day for like months. But like I said, I would never ever prefer to like suppress my emotions versus going through what I went through and crying every day. Like, that was so needed, because right now the emotional intelligence that I have, the emotional capacity that I have to feel is like, I feel things and I believe that. I don't know, people have to confirm that to me, but from when I'm talking to people and from, I just know that I feel things on such a deep, visceral level, and that since I'm so connected with my body and my intuition, that I can literally just feel things and know things. And I did not have access to that capability when I was suppressing myself. So something that I truly learned during that time was that, and the insight that came from that experience was this, and this is the message that I want to send for you guys today. If I have any other ice queens out there, any other girls who like to like hide themselves, or guys, or pretend like things don't bother you, or I don't know, like you had a breakup, or you had a really bad like ending of a friendship, and now you've closed yourself up, and like you don't want to trust anymore, and you don't want to give anymore, and you don't want to like love anymore, and all of that. I'm gonna tell you this: you can't numb bad emotions. You can't. There's no such thing as, I'm going to numb the pain. I'm going to numb the wound. I'm going to numb the trauma. I'm going to put all these things away and they're not going to affect me. That does not exist. You cannot say, hey, I'm going to turn the volume down on these emotions, but not on this emotion. It does not work. Just like a radio, when you decide to turn the volume down on your emotions by numbing them, by suppressing them, by pretending they don't exist, like for example your pain or your heartbreak, you essentially just turn the volume down on all of your emotions. And maybe that doesn't seem like a bad thing right now, but trust me, when you start realizing that nothing excites you, that you don't have a lot of joy in your life, that you're not having fun unless you drink or smoke, that nothing makes sense, that you don't like being around people, that you just like to stay in your bed, that then it becomes a problem. And you don't have to wait until it gets there. You just have to understand this one thing. When you turn the dial down on your emotions, on your pain, on all of that, you're turning the dial down on your capacity to also experience the opposite and the good things in your life. So when you numb yourself, like essentially, like let's say you were taking drugs and you numbed yourself, you're gonna numb all of yourself. You're just gonna not feel. So if you're not feeling, you're not going to feel joy, you're not going to feel happiness, you're not going to feel pleasure, you're not going to feel excitement. And even if you do, you're going to experience them you're not even going to experience them on the level that you could. You're going to experience them to the level that you've numbed yourself. And I didn't realize that until, like I said, I had my heartbreak and where the light entered through the cracks, because I realized that the reason why my life felt so empty and felt like nothing was exciting me was because I was not feeling the emotions. I wasn't allowing myself to even feel basic emotions like anger and even love. Like I was keeping love under wraps because I didn't want to love too much. I didn't want to do this and that. And it's like when you try to like cap your emotions and to not experience the entirety of something, like I said, you turn the dial down on all your other emotions, and you really like you cap your experiences, and you put this type of limit on what it is that you can experience. And a lot of people can't experience joy or bliss, like they can't let themselves just have fun. Like that was another thing. I was very reserved and I wouldn't allow myself to have fun. And honestly, this is just a personal message that I want to send out there, because I feel like a lot of us think that we can put away certain experiences, put away certain pain, and act like they don't exist, and be in our relationships and have pain and like try to put them away and stuff like that. And like none of these things go away. You're going to have to face them. You're going to have to sit with them. You're going to have those hard conversations. You're going to have to communicate with your partner. You're going to have to do all of those things if you actually want that emotion and that feeling to be transformed or to leave your body. As long as you keep it inside you, it is going to continue to affect you one way or the other. And I think too that this is where healing comes in, is that a lot of the time I see a lot of people doing healing as if it's mindset work, but it's not. It's really a lot of the times a lot emotional work, and it's allowing yourself to feel safe feeling emotions. I know as kids, a lot of times we didn't feel safe feeling emotions. We didn't have the right to be angry. We didn't have the right to be sad. We didn't have the right, if it wasn't like smiling, and even sometimes like we didn't have the right to be freaking excited. Like we were so excited about something and people will be like, hey, calm down, you're too excited. So sometimes it could have been insinuated to us that we didn't have the right to feel what we were feeling, or that we shouldn't feel what we were feeling. And a lot of the times being invalidated in this way can make us grow up in ways where we start invalidating our own feelings, and we start invalidating our own experiences and telling ourselves we're okay, it doesn't matter, like I was doing when I was just like pretending everything was okay, going to work, etc., even though I literally felt like a ghost. I didn't want to look at the reality of things. I didn't want to look at what was being asked of me, because it was a hard question. It's like, listen, if you're not happy with your life, you're gonna have to change it. And that's not an easy thing to look at when you've been constantly, trying not to look at it. And I mean, I think you guys know which path I took, and I looked at it, I processed it, I sat with it, and I made the decision. And it's so crazy because I'm so happy with that decision. And like I said, I just felt like I could not go forward like this. No matter what it is that I chose to do, I just could not continue functioning like this. And I think having healthy emotional responses and learning to feel your emotions and learning to understand your emotions and learning how to feel safe in expressing your emotions is so important, and things that we all still need to learn so that we can better communicate, better express ourselves, and better, like I said, just understand what we're even going through. So if you're in a period right now where you don't like your life, you don't feel excited, you don't feel like anything is like, your life means nothing, you mean nothing, and that's not true. You mean a lot. You matter. Every single person on this earth matters, and we all have a purpose and we all have a reason for being here. But if you feel like that right now, first thing first, I want to let you know that I'm sure 100% that you have someone in your life that you can talk to. And if you don't, let me be that someone in your life that you can talk to. It is, I don't want to say I don't mind. It's like, it would be my pleasure to be the refuge for people who do not have one. I personally know what it feels like to feel like you have no one who understands and who is going through what you're going through. So if you want to talk and you feel like you don't have anyone, please reach out. Please reach out. It's not about the money at that point. It's just to be of service and to help another soul just feel listened to and feel heard. And it would be my pleasure to be that person for you. But if you're feeling low and you're feeling like your life has no meaning or you don't matter or any of those things, you have to do the most difficult thing ever. But that difficult thing is going to lead you to so much peace and so much joy and so much. It's going to lead you out of the place that you are in right now. And that thing is, you have to look at the thing that you've been avoiding. The thing that you know has no place in your life anymore. And you know it because you've been fighting with yourself. You've been battling yourself against that thing. You've been super indecisive. You've been weighing the pros and cons. And you know that thing or that person or that place or that environment has no place in your life anymore. And it's time for you to let it go. The other thing that you're going to look at is who you are and who you want to be. A lot of the times when we're not happy with our life, it's something as simple as us not being happy with ourselves. We're not happy with how far we've come. We're not happy with what we're doing. We're not happy with how we're showing up, how we're expressing ourselves. And you have to take a look at yourself, not a judgeful one with love and compassion. You just want to look and observe yourself. What are the things about me that I want to improve? Not what are the things about me that I hate. What are the things about myself that I want to improve? And some of the things for me were like creating deeper relationships with people, creating more connections with people. I wanted to work on my energy, like being a more energetic person, being less reserved, being less shy. All of those things that I felt like being more consistent, being like doing the things I said I was going to do, work on my self-trust. Like that was a huge one for me. Self-trust, self-confidence, listening to myself, like all of those things were so important to me. And I'm like, I want to work on those things. I want to believe in myself. Like when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And this has led me to here. And when I looked at my life and I looked at the circumstances and I looked at the job and I looked at the environment and I looked at the persons, the people, and I looked at the behaviors in my life, everything that was keeping me stagnant, everything that I wanted to let go of, everything that I was like, I don't want this anymore. Like, I don't want this anymore. And I started asking myself, like, okay, but if you don't want this anymore, what do you want? And that is when I started feeling some sort of spark in me again, because I actually allowed myself to dream, but not dream like daydream. I allowed myself to say like, what it is that do you want? If you don't want these things, what do you want? And I started writing down the things that I wanted. And I started telling myself like, yo, these things they're possible. Like, why have you never went like behind it before? Like, they're very possible. Like, a lot of people are doing that shit. So it's not like it's impossible. Like, it's pretty possible. Why have you been holding yourself back? And when I started, doing the inner work, doing the mindset work, working on my subconscious, working on my belief in myself, then I started feeling better. and I started crying a lot. Like I told you guys, I was crying a lot. There was so much that I was grieving, and grieving the things that I didn't allow myself to feel, grieving the experiences and the trauma that I went through, grieving all those things. And for the first time in my life, I didn't tell myself like, oh, you're weak, like you're crying, like just shake it off, like things happen, like no one cares. Like I didn't. I actually just cried. I just cried, and I just let myself feel everything, and it felt horrible. But after I cried, I felt fucking good. I felt amazing. And then I kind of started crying, like even when I didn't need to. I would like cry once a week. Like my crying kind of like the intervals of me crying became longer and longer, whereas like before it was like when I was going through it, I was really crying a lot, and then afterwards I started crying like once a week, and then it was like maybe 2 times a month, and then afterwards it was maybe like once a month. And now I cry like when things are like really hard, or like when I hit like a rough patch in my business or anything like that. But sometimes I just allow myself to cry. Like I don't want this episode to be about me crying, but I just want to pinpoint the evolution, because like I swear to you, like I really didn't used to like feel shit before. Like I would look at movies, and I like nothing, no tears. Like people would be like, oh my god, that was so emotional. Nothing. I was just like, I don't cry in front of people. And now like if I hear like the most beautiful music, or if I hear something that really touches me, or if I see something that really touches me, or I read something that really touches me, like I'll literally have like a little tear up. And sometimes I'm like, yo, who are you? But I feel really connected with myself, so much so that, like I said, I can read something that someone wrote, and it's like, wow, that touches me so much, and I can feel the little tears in my eyes. And now I know like that's not a bad thing. It's just like an expression. It's an expression of emotion, and that in itself is not a bad thing. And yeah, if you're in that place, like I said, find that one person that you trust, that you can really talk to. And if you have no one, like I said, I would definitely be that person for you. But what I would recommend again too is to be there for yourself. And one of the best ways that I did that was with my journal. No matter how low I felt, I was journaling. I was writing to myself. I was telling myself the most amazing things. I was telling myself, I know you are going through like a hard period right now, and that nothing makes sense, and that you feel shitty, but I believe in you, and I trust you, and I know that this is only temporary, and you're gonna make it through. Like I was really with myself during that dark period. Like I was there. I had my own back. And some days I felt like crap, and other days I felt better, but I was there with myself, and I had my back. And I think that's what made the difference, and that's what allowed me to pull myself out of that space. And that is what helped me saw like how powerful of a person I really was, because I pulled myself out of that place single-handedly. And when I emerged from the darkness, I had so much insight and so much clarity, and so it was literally like going to hell and back. And it's like, if I went to hell and I came back, like of course I'm gonna talk to you guys, right? I gotta tell you guys what I saw, what I experienced, and how I made it through, like just in case y'all end up ever going to hell. I would never want you to get stuck there. And it's not even about being stuck. It's just like, if you've ever went through anything that people have deemed like impossible, or like very hard, or like some people, they just like get their heart broken and then they change forever, and they just become like a bitch, or they just become like, they just have trust issues, and then they just start acting like some, like people truly act like things and experiences can make you. And I understand that, because like a lot of the experiences when I was young, they changed me and they impacted me in a huge way. And this is why I'm so focused on healing, because healing really allows me to return to to that natural state of who I really am, to that natural state of my soul, to my natural essence, to that pure potential of whatever it is that I came here to create and what my soul came to here to create. And for me to get there, and for me to even be in this place, and I'm not fully healed or anything like that, I'm still discovering who I am and my true potential, but I'm unlearning a lot of the shackles, a lot of the things that were taught to me, and a lot of the things even I interpreted incorrectly because I was a kid and I didn't understand what was going on, like I was talking about, just like how people can say like, oh, you're too excited, or just like, oh, look at her, she's too excited, and stuff like that. And you can misinterpret that as a kid as that being a bad thing, and you can change that about yourself. So it's about unlearning all of those kind of like misinterpretations and falsehoods and false truths that you grew up with or that you currently believe. And when you can start removing those things layers by layers, you will notice that literally there's nothing that you can't do, and that who you are is so much more than you currently think. Like, so much more. There is so much more to you than you currently think. Like, you're so much more. And when you take that time to unlearn all of the things that you learned out of survival, and to be liked and to be accepted, and to keep the connection and the protection of the people around you, and you really get in touch with yourself, you experience a deep level of self-love that I'm pretty sure you didn't know exist before. Because we walk around, we like, I love myself, I'm confident, I'm good. But you know what? Someone who really loves themselves don't talk to themselves the way we talk to ourselves in our head. Someone who really loves themselves lets themselves go after their dreams because they know that it means the world to them. Someone who really truly loves themselves, they listen to themselves, and they listen to their heart when their heart tells them, this person's not treating you well, or that you need to leave this situation, you're worth more. Someone who really loves themselves, they don't beat themselves up in the head after because they made a small mistake, or because they weren't perfect, or because they said something stupid in the party that no one's going to remember. Someone who really, really loves themselves don't constantly doubt their abilities, doubt that they're good enough, doubt that they have what it takes. Someone who really loves themselves believes in themselves because they know that they were made perfectly. Like, they came here with a reason, with a purpose, and that God makes no mistakes. So your being here means that you earned your spot, and you have something here to do. So when you can truly be honest with yourself, and I think, like I said, that starts with being honest about what it is you feel. Sometimes you don't even have to take action on it. Like, maybe you do want to leave your job, or maybe you do want to leave your relationship, or maybe you do want to have a change in your life, or maybe you don't like the fact about yourself that you're always inconsistent, or you start something and you stop. Sometimes you don't have to make a decision about it right away, or create an action plan, or sometimes you just have to allow yourself to feel that, and do not judge it, because there is nothing wrong with that. I'm sure even the people who've been together for 60 years have had moments where they're like, I'm not sure if I want to be in this relationship. Breathe. And feel it. It's okay. It's okay to doubt yourself sometimes. It's okay to doubt your relationship sometimes. Just feel it. If you feel it, and maybe some other questions can come up, like, why am I feeling this way? Is there something in particular that is, making me feel this way? Is there something being triggered? Am I not fulfilled? What can I do to make myself feel more fulfilled? Like, other questions will start coming once we allow ourselves to just take the moment to say, I feel like this, and feel it without judgment. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just a feeling. Imagine if someone had told us that when we were young. Imagine how differently we would all react to simple emotions. It's not bad. It's not good. It's a feeling, and it is being asked to be felt and to be heard and to be acknowledged. And once you can give yourself that awareness, and once you can acknowledge your feeling and feel it and give it what it needs, then you gain insight from it, you gain wisdom from it, and it flows through you. And now you can move on. And if it comes up in 2 months, you do the process over again. And I think that's a much better way of living life than the thought comes up like, I'm unsure about my relationship, and you push it down or you put it out of your head. Oh no, don't think like that. Nah. And then during the week, you have like this weird anxiousness or this feeling in your stomach. And when you're talking to your partner, you can't get this thought out of your head. And it's like kind of like poisoning everything around you. Like, no, why go through that? It's like sometimes we choose the long-term suffering instead of just like the right here now suffering. And it's like, do the hard thing now so that you don't drag it on and create a huger problem later. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just a feeling, and it wants to be felt by you. And as long as you can give it that, as long as you can acknowledge it, then it will do its thing and it will let you go, and you can let go of it, and you can think clearer, and you can make solutions, and you can know how to move forward. But until you do that, you're just prolonging and creating so much more suffering within yourself than anyone ever deserves, to be honest. So I hope you guys like this episode, and to recap from my favorite tools, like I said, please get yourself a journal, especially if you're going through it. And even if you're not going through it, journal is your best friend. And always talk to yourself and treat yourself and be there for yourself as your own best friend. To find that person that you trust, find someone that you can reach out to, find someone that you can, connection is the antidote to a lot of things. Connection is the antidote to loneliness, and sometimes loneliness and solitude can be causing us to feel empty. So sometimes just being vulnerable and having connection can be the antidote to that, can be the antidote to us feeling shameful, to us feeling ashamed or lonely, or like no one's there, no one cares. And sit with yourself, allow yourself to sit with your pain, put your journal on the side, sit with your pain, so whatever comes up, you can feel it, and maybe just channel that into something beautiful. Maybe channel that into writing, maybe dance it away, maybe sing it away, maybe whatever your creative expression is, or you can just feel it and just cry it away. But whatever it is, allow yourself to feel what it is that you're feeling, so that you can gain that clarity and you can gain the after effects of having that emotion flow through you. And the last thing I would say is to trust yourself. Trust yourself and trust your emotions. Trust your intuition, and understand that your feelings are not inherently bad. They're not inherently good. They're just there to show you whatever it is going on inside of you. It's like it's guiding you to show you where you still have things that you need to work on, or something is wrong here or something. So it's like this map of what is going on inside of you, and that is so precious. And once you learn how to how you communicate with yourself and how your emotions communicate with you, or what your emotion means, then you have this map and you can understand yourself in a deeper level. And that, for me, even deepens your self-trust in yourself, so that you know when you're feeling something, someone can't gaslight you, other people can make you feel a how. And I'll have more episodes on actual emotional management. I just wanted to talk about this today. And you can have deeper trust, like I said, deeper trust in yourself. So these are all the little tips that I wanted to give you guys today from my personal story and from my personal insight. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, and at least, if it can touch at least one person out there and help them feel less alone, then I will know that my job is done. So thank you guys so much for listening. If you like today's episode, please share it on your Instagram or on your social media. It means the world to me when I see you guys share these things and tag it. And also, it just helps my reach and helps other people receive these messages, especially if they help you. I would love if you guys can rate my podcast, put some stars on it, and to share as much as possible. And please don't forget that from now on, I really want to do this all 2023. I'm going to be answering your podcast questions. I'm going to be answering your audios and your anonymous text that you guys will be sending me. And I'm so excited for that. So you guys can find the link in the description for that. And yeah, I can't wait to already get some submissions. So as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye.